paka paka waka chiki 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 waka paka waka 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 chiki 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 waka paka.
The aftermath from Sherry's eviction is here and Chilltown is shook. Mike DR saying that Nicole played on people's emotions. Surprised that it worked as well. I think if there is an emotion that helped Nicole survive, it was hatred of Chilltown. But every decision is emotional. The logic you subscribe to is based on what your emotional desires are. So therefore, every decision would be emotional. Boogie says to Kent that he saved him, and Kent replied with that he's got to vote who he feels like he's got to vote for. Boogie talked about if people voted that way for strategy, mad props. I don't really like it because it's saying that my view is strategic, that it's correct. Learning other people's values is, I think, a better way to go, because not everyone operates under the same beliefs as you. Kent's annoyed at Boogie. Hardy tells him to just let him cut his own throat. That's my man Hardy again, coming through with some wisdom. Shannon comments that the others are psychos, in which Boogie agrees. But I mean, hey, who's the craziest in the insane asylum? I say the guards. Crazy's a term for the minorically different, and Shannon, you're in the minority right now. Shannon has a DR saying she knows for a fact who voted to keep Sherry, Will, Shannon, speaking in third person, and Krista. Monica talking to Nicole and some others, saying that she does what she does for strategy. It's about her living in the game, so that's her motivation when coming up with decisions. Nicole vents to Hardy about being an honest person. Hardy says people appreciate a straight shooter rather than someone who flies under the radar and backstabs them. This might help explain why Will is able to get the jump on them a bit, with telling them that they're good with him while also at the same time planning to vote them out. Hardy has a diary room saying that people might have forgotten it's a competition. Autumn is disgusted by some of the people in the house. That would be Chilltown. She says that Boogie was trying to sleep with her to get her vote. He says that she is a liar and an attention getter. There's clips of it being shown, him saying, let's do it now before anyone else gets here. She says she'd be a little more at ease if they were alone, and he gets up annoyed, saying, you understand, it's done, so there's that. Now the comments aren't in full context. There's some, what I do know is that we've seen Autumn try and have Hardy's attention, so there is a history with her. Boogie said that she was the sexual aggressor for what apparently went for 2 hours. And I got to see like a minute or two. So, Autumn says that she asked Shannon for eating and workout tips. Shannon at the diary room saying that she put a bag of potato chips on her bed. Why was it again that you said women don't like you? Autumn is crying. Hardy at the diary room saying that he believes she's being targeted as the weak gazelle, and that is what predators do. They go after the weak one. Autumn even says herself she's weak, while Krista was trying to convince her otherwise. Will did get knowledge from the fast. I mean, Autumn went out first in that. Never heard a diary room of them saying they're targeting her, but if they were, they would have the knowledge. Boogie says he doesn't know how he will coexist with them. There's a conversation about the Autumn and Shannon situation. Krista diary room saying Autumn is jealous of Shannon and Shannon feeds off that. Doesn't sound implausible. Shannon mentions outside that there's a time in which to analyze yourself from others' perspective, and it's hard for her to take criticism, constructive or otherwise, and she apologizes for putting the chips on her bed, but also that it was her way of retaliating. A trivia HOH competition, as Boogie outgoing HOH, he will not play. Boogie felt pretty good about it until he realized that the questions were interpersonal. People who listen and share their stories, which Will and Shannon are not. Just in case you didn't know how bad Chilltown were early on. But he does feel good about Krista, who had said in a previous episode that if she were to win, she would put Will up. Boogie also had a good feeling about Sherry, who had said to put Will and Shannon up. Maybe they're just good feelings about him. I do want to mention that Will was totally not throwing this. The final three were Nicole, Bunky and Krista, in which Krista won the tie-breaking question. And it's now HOH. Krista asked for Nicole's perspective. Nicole said, Will go over anybody. Maybe he would have that week. Krista says she's going to get everyone's idea and then make a decision for herself. Though I like the mentality of that, I kind of think it would have been better for her to not win this. She asks everyone who they'd put up. Monica says Will and Shannon. Shannon said Hardy and someone else. Krista had a diary room about not knowing what to do, and she mentions that everyone on the non-Chilltown side wants Will out. At this point we get to a food competition. It's men v women. Kent's diary room, I enjoyed talking about, he thinks he's got his body fat down to 90% now, so good for Kent. They have to guess what their weight is. Closest to wins. The men win by a pound, so the women have to eat peanut butter and jelly, because slop isn't introduced until All Stars. According to Nicole, Will had not looked at her for 2 days before a conversation that they had. You have Nicole, Hardy and Bunky having diary rooms. They're talking about Chilltown sucking up. Krista ended up confiding in Monica. She mentioned to her, everyone but 3 people want Will. He suggested to Monica putting Hardy and Autumn up, 1 weak, 1 strong, in which she got a response of, your ass would be gone soon. Boogie had a conversation with Shannon in which he was talking about Will, saying that he is not a threat, he won't win, that he has so many enemies, talking points that Will himself will use to be able to survive time and time again. At this point we get to the nominations, in which Krista's just wearing a towel. She talks about not wanting to have been in this position this early. Maybe you could have just not won HOH. Ultimately decides to nominate Autumn and Kent. Autumn, she said, reasoning was due to her emotions being extremely high that it would be better for her to not be in the house, and for Kent, luck of the draw, so Autumn's her target. If Krista didn't win this, I think Will might have gone this week. I'm still thinking at the moment that she shouldn't have won. She has what? Autumn goes next, then you have Shannon and Boogie, and then I think it's Krista after that. How much does this play a part? I'm sure it does. She does have the Shannon and Boogie buffer though, the same as Will, and he was able to use that to eventually catapult himself to victory. Yeah, we'll have to see what else comes from this. But this really seems like the beginning of the end for Krista. So that's episode 5. We'll get to the next one soon enough. Bye bye.